And I think we have discussed about the toughness, no?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
What I like to mention that by the classical testing method of impact strength, toughness, which we measure by IJOT testing or CHARPY testing, they are the specimen, though have a notch, but not standardized. Their notch is only provided to initiate the fracture. But another domain is there which is called fracture toughness. First of all, you have to keep in mind that the toughness and the fracture toughness are two different material property, and their measurement method are also different. Again, I am repeating, the word toughness and the word fracture toughness represent two different terms, and testing methods are different, testing standards are different, and they represent different material property. If we limit our discussion on toughness, that is tested by IJOT test or CHARPY test, their specimen is shown here actually. I think this is the specimen. Okay, 10 by 10 cross section and more or less 55 is the length. There is a central notch with 45-degree angle and small angle of radius at the crack tip, and it is just strike is given at the central along the crack face, and material fractures energy is measured, and toughness represents here the energy term, energy required to complete the fracture, that is the toughness. Now I will mention another word, fracture toughness. First of all, you have to know that in strength of material analysis, where you get the ultimate stress, yield stress, toughness, etc., there it is assumed that material is continuous. And there is no crack inside the material, no void inside the material. And from this assumption, one derivation is there that the failure property, it may be ultimate stress, it may be yield stress, it may be toughness, whatever may be the failure property of the material, that does not depend on the crack size present inside the material. This is the basic assumption of continuum mechanics based on which your strength of material formula are derived. But in reality, material or structure always contain some discontinuity within it. This discontinuity can be generated during the manufacturing process of the material or manufacturing process of the component, or by some chemical action. Whatever the cause may be, more or less it is definite that within the component there are voids, there are scratch, there are discontinuity. And material behavior, whenever we assume the presence of the crack, are different when we are assuming it without any flaw, without any crack. And the mechanics, which actually gives you the material response, analysis for material response under load, which accepts the presence of crack and develop the stress or energy related formula assuming the crack size, contribution of crack size on material response. That mechanics is called fracture mechanics. In continuum mechanics, presence of crack voids are ignored. Mechanical response are independent of the crack size. In fracture mechanics, presence of crack voids are acknowledged, are considered, and material strength depends upon the presence of the crack size. The crack dimension will have influence over the material response or failure condition. Is it understood first?
Sir, can you repeat this one, sir?
Please repeat.
Sir, fracture mechanics, sir. বুঝতে পারলাম।
বলছি আড়াই First of all, when we have modeled the material in case of strength of material analysis, there we have assumed that material is continuum. That means there is no void, there is no gap between the module of the material. It may be atom, it may be crystal, there is no gap. It is the first basic assumption in continuum mechanics. The mechanics which assumes this property of the material. It is a situation of modeling. Real materials are not flawless, but for simplification, we are assuming the model material to be flawless and then derive the material response against loading. That is called continuum mechanics. But in later, it was observed that material response or prediction based on continuum mechanics sometimes does not match with the experimental or real life situation. And after thorough study, it was observed that there is no crack in the material. This assumption is departure from the reality. Reality is that there will be crack or void or discontinuity, some kind of flaw within the material. And this flaw may be generated because of manufacturing process or by chemical action or by some causes may be there, but there must be some flaw within the material. And now the question arises, the analysis which is based on ignoring the presence of crack must not match with the reality, as because the real material are always with flaws. Then people try to analyze, to derive the material response under load, considering the presence of crack and considering the contribution of crack size in material behavior. When cracks are acknowledged, considered, and material property are correlated with the crack size, then the mechanics is called fracture mechanics. And when the assumption is that material is flawless and material behavior is analyzed without considering the crack, without contribution of crack size on the material property, then it is continuum mechanics. Understood?
Yes, sir.
And to identify the property which can determine the failure condition of a material when cracks are present was given by fracture toughness of the material. It can be understood in this way that what will be the failure stress of the material. If we find it by experiment, it is observed that it depends upon the crack size, largest crack size present in the material. In strength of material, it was rather proposed that ultimate stress is a material property, and material will fail when inside stress will arrive at ultimate stress. And till the composition of the material remaining fixed, the value of the ultimate stress or failure stress will not be changed. This was the proposition given by strength of material. But doing experiment, it was found if we increase the crack size, it is our general observation that material fails at lower value of stress. That means the failure stress is a function of crack length present in the material. What will be the failure stress of this component? Just by knowing the material composition, somebody cannot predict it. He has to know what is the largest crack size that may be present inside the material. Then he can predict the value of failure stress. So in case of fracture mechanics, stress alone cannot be the condition of failure, cannot be the failure given material property. Combining the crack length and applied stress, combining the crack length present and applied stress, a material property is developed actually which governs the failure. And in case of material property, the critical value of this property which governs the failure is called fracture toughness. You may ask how we can measure fracture toughness. First of all, you have to know there is a parameter which is called actually stress intensity factor in a material, which is given by K, and expression of K is given by Y root over pi a sigma. The expression here given is slightly wrong. You don't copy this expression given. It will be Y sigma root over pi a. It is not in the denominator, rather in the numerator. And when the value of this K is called stress intensity factor, that determines whether there will be failure or not. When these value reaches to a certain value, then failure occurs. And we can measure by experiment the failure load at a given crack length. Look, at a given crack length, we can measure the failure stress by experiment. Then we know the crack length, then we know the value of applied stress sigma, and Y is a form factor which depends on the geometry. If the geometry is known, then Y can be selected from the table. Then we can measure the value of K at which failure is occurred. That is the value of critical stress intensity factor, or Kc, and it is commonly known as fracture toughness of the material, which governs the failure condition. When the applied stress intensity factor will exceed the fracture toughness of the material, then material will fail. So when fracture mechanics is concerned, when we are taking the influence or effect of crack length in material failure condition, then fracture toughness is the material property which will determine whether there will be failure or not. Stress alone cannot decide the failure situation or failure state. A parameter combining stress and crack length, and multiplied by a geometric factor actually will control whether there will be failure or not. Is it understood by fracture toughness?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
I have discussed about hardness, no? Brinell, Rockwell.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, I have to start with fatigue now actually. It is very important area of design. Suppose we know the material behavior under static stress. Static stress means load is applied very slowly and gradually increases to the maximum value. Then the load is considered to be a static load. But in real situation, nature of the load may be such that the value of load starting from 0 then reaches to some value, and from that maximum value it starts to drop and become zero again, and then load is applied in the reverse direction and reaches up to a negative maximum and again start to come to zero. So starting from zero, reaching to positive maximum, reducing to negative maximum, again coming to zero. Starting from zero, again reaching to zero. This is
স্যার
হ্যাঁ বলো।
স্যার এই জায়গাটা আরেকবার বোঝাবেন।
If we plot the value of load versus time or stress versus time, because dividing, if we know the load and the geometry, I think we can calculate the stress. Suppose stress inside the member may start from the zero. Are you following my cursor? Is it visible?
Yes, sir.
Now increasing to a maximum value, now drops to zero again, now reaches to negative maximum and coming to zero again. Okay?
Okay, sir.
Now this module, suppose this is a module, and now this module is repeated for several times. This is called variable load. Variable load. Is it understood? The load is varying with time, and it is a variable load. Is the idea clear or not?
Yes, sir.
And now, in case of static load, we can represent the load by magnitude only. By magnitude only. But in case of this variable load, we have to represent the load, nature of the load or quantum of the load by several parameters. As the load varies, only the maximum load or the minimum load or the average load alone cannot represent the loading nature. If we give sigma max and sigma min, then rather other parameters can be, or the effect of load can be estimated. So in case of this variable loading, we have to express the loading magnitude at least by two terms. One of the easiest process to give the maximum value and minimum value. Otherwise, you have to give the mean stress. Mean stress is given by sigma m, sigma max plus sigma min by 2. But this mean stress cannot give you the complete picture, because for the same mean stress, the variation of the load can be to different extent, and effect on the material also will be of different extent. So only the mean stress cannot determine the loading effect. Variable part of the load is also to be given, and that is given by amplitude or stress amplitude of the load, that sigma A, which is given by sigma max minus sigma min by 2. Look here, this is, if we draw a central line, then this is the value of mean or average stress. But this part, from the mean stress to peak, this difference is the amplitude of the stress. And if we give, or if we represent the load by these two terms, then possibly the loading effect can be assessed. Do you agree with me or not?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So keep in mind, for representing the variable load, we require at least two parameters. One will represent the average part or mean part of the load, another will variability or rather amplitude part of the load. And another important property is also related to this kind of variable loading, which is called frequency of the load. Frequency of the load. Amplitude part can be, or magnitude part can be represented by two parameters, and then also frequency is to be given. Is it true or not?
Yes, sir.
And now, depending on the mean value and amplitude part, the loads are also named by different terms. Suppose completely reversed. Can anybody suggest what is meant by completely reversed? When we will say a periodic load, because this is called also periodic load, variable load. When a periodic load can be termed as completely reversed.
Sir, in the case of the push pull, sir, I think.
Push-pull, tension compression, but when the positive maximum and negative maximum will be equal, then it will be completely reversed, isn't?
Yes, sir.
Look, in the topmost loading, the value of positive maximum and value of negative maximum are not same. But in the second case, it is same. And in that case, mean stress will be 0, isn't?
Yes, sir.
So completely reversed means mean stress is 0. Only amplitude part is there, stress amplitude part is there. Otherwise, they can be termed as fluctuating. And when it is repeated, when the minimum load is 0, then it is repeated. The term repeated loading is used. So if in the design problem it is given to you that a repeated load of rather mean value such and such, I think other information is given. As it is repeated, so minimum value is 0. Is it clear to you or not?
Yes, sir.
If a completely reversed load of stress amplitude 200 MPa, it is completely given because as it is mentioned completely reversed, so mean stress is 0. But when it is alternating or general fluctuating load, then at least 2 parameters are to be given. Is it true to you or not? Is it
Yes, sir.
understood? Now, why it is important in design? Suppose railway axle, it was observed in 19th century actually, that railway axles, when by calculation it is observed that they are subjected to very low amplitude of stress and the value of that stress is below the yield point. But it was the general observation that after a certain number of running of the train, the wheels are failed, though the applied stress amplitude is far below the yield point. So people tried to inspect why failure occurs. One thing was observed, that on the failure surface, stretch mark, consecutive stretch mark are observed. And by further inspection, it was understood. Now, note it seriously, that when the load is variable in nature, then there must be load reversal at certain point. Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
At the top, coming from maximum to reducing and from minimum to increase. So there will be load reversal, 2 load reversal point in one module or one cycle. And it was observed that whenever there will be load reversal in the member or stress reversal in the member, the very tiny crack present inside the material will grow. And if these variable loads are applied repeatedly, several times, and in each cycle there is a very small crack growth, but if the number of cycles are very large, even the crack growth in one cycle is very small, but when multiplied by this number of cycles, it will be significant. Crack growth will be significant. And if crack grows at some cross section, then you are sure that the load bearing capacity of that cross section will be seriously reduced. And after a certain amount of crack growth, it will happen that if we calculate the stress at that cross section, considering the actual area present, we will look that at that load, the value reaches to ultimate stress. Though though the calculated stress on the basis of complete area, undistorted area, is far below the yield stress, as because area has been reduced by crack growth. Is it possible or not?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So externally, we will look that the applied stress is below the yield stress. But due to crack growth, at the reduced cross section, the real stress is reaching to ultimate stress. So failure will occur, and people will be confused that failure is occurring at lower value of yield stress, but this is not. So it is a kind of failure mechanism which is called fatigue failure. Fatigue due to progressive crack growth in each load reversal, the material get fatigued, tired. And when we are tired, our capacity reduces, load bearing capacity reduces, and therefore material fails. So here, what is the input to the designer? Input to the designer is that if a member is subjected to variable loading, then design based on ultimate stress leads to false prediction, wrong prediction. Designers should know what is the relation of reduction in strength of a material with number of cycles. Then only he can take care of the fatigue failure mechanism or can design the member having sufficient resistance against fatigue failure. Is it true or not?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So when this was the observation before the designer always try to get relationship, correlation or design. So here the interest of the designer, what is the relation between the reduction or rather failure stress and number of cycles for a given material. Material is given. Suppose it is a particular grade of mild steel. Now, what will be the value of failure stress if the number of cycles operated like this? Or rather, at what number of cycles this particular material will fail? Isn't?
Yes, sir.
So it was, an experiment was designed. How? I think it is given. No, it will be a rotating beam experiment. When a shaft is attached at the bearing at two ends and allowed to rotate, due to the weight of the shaft or weight of the pulley, gear, etc., you know the shaft will be subjected to bending stress when it is not rotating as a simply supported beam. Is it true?
Yes, sir.
And when bending will be there, then you also know that the one end will be compressed, another end will be under tensile stress, because one end will be contracted, another end will be extended in a bending mode. Do you agree?
Yes, sir.
Suppose top will be contracted and bottom will be tension. Now if you rotate the shaft, what will happen? The fiber which is now present at top, after half cycle rotation, it will come at the bottom. So the fiber which was earlier under compression now will be under tension. Is it true?
Yes, sir.
So
Yes,
now
sir.
all the fibers on the shaft, in fact, will be continuously subjected to compressive stress and tensile stress, In each cycle, each fiber will undergo a peak of tensile stress and a peak of compressive stress. Do you agree?
Yes, sir.
So the loading mode that I have represented here, suppose in the case of completely reverse loading, so some positive value of tensile stress to equal amount of negative value stress or compressive stress. So this rotating beam or rotating shaft is subjected to completely reverse loading. Is it true?
Yes, sir. Yes.
We can control the stress amplitude by controlling the load over the member, because MY by I will give you the value of stress, and by changing the value of M moment on the member, we can change the value of stress amplitude. And with different amount of bending moment, we can rotate the shaft and allow the rotation till failure, and can measure the failure cycle. Can you do that?
Yes, sir.
So stress amplitude and failure cycles is noted. Now we change the value of stress amplitude, rather decrease the stress amplitude. Then again we can measure the failure cycle or cycles to failure. Is it true or not?
Yes, sir.
Now we can plot the stress amplitude in y-axis, and in x-axis, a logarithmic scale, the number of cycles are plotted. Because we have collected data, stress amplitude versus corresponding, you follow the word, corresponding cycles to failure, and can plot in a semi-log graph paper, where y-axis represents the value of stress amplitude applied over, and x-axis represents cycles to failure. And it was observed that a general nature of the curve, a general trend of the curve is obtained for different material, mainly for steel. And what is the trend? The trend is given by that a line slowly falling, or slope of the line gradually changing from a higher value to lower value, and then reaches to a point and then becomes more or less constant or asymptotic to x-axis. And there is a knee. There is a knee. Knee means a corner point, beyond which the number of cycles to failure is independent of the applied stress, in fact, leading to infinite life. Initially, the value of number of cycle increases with reduction in stress amplitude. Lower the stress amplitude, higher the cycles to failure. Reaching to certain value of stress, if we maintain the stress below that level, there will be no failure at all. So a point is obtained for infinite life. A value of stress amplitude is obtained below which there will be no failure of the material, no crack growth at all of the material, not leading to fatigue failure. An important material property is identified. What is the material property? It is named as endurance limit, fatigue strength or endurance limit. If endurance limit of the material is known, it is in term of stress, then we can design the member so that the value of stress amplitude will never exceed the value of endurance limit. Then we can ensure there will be no fatigue failure. This curve is popularly known as SN curve. S represents stress and N represents failure cycle or cycles to failure. The failure mechanism is called fatigue failure, and there is a stress on this SN curve or point below which there will be no crack growth and no fatigue failure. This value of stress for the material is known as endurance limit. Endurance limit. Is it understood?
স্যার ওই আপনি ওই যে শ্যাফটের কথাটা বললেন না যে ওটা একটা কন্টিনিউয়াসলি একবার টেনসাইল একবার কম্প্রেসিভ লোডিং এ আসছে স্যার, ওই জিনিসটা কিভাবে হচ্ছে ঠিক বুঝতে পারলাম না।
ধরো শ্যাফটের যে টপ ফাইবারটা, শ্যাফটটাকে বেন্ড করাও।
হ্যাঁ স্যার,
শ্যাফটটা বেন্ড করলে নিচের দিকে ঝুলে যাবে তো।
কন্ট্রাকশন হলো, উপর দিকটা টেনসাইল হলো।
আচ্ছা, তাহলে কোনো ফাইবার শ্যাফটের যেটা উপরে থাকবে সেটা কম্প্রেশনে যেতে বাধ্য, আর একদম নিচে থাকবে যারা তারা টেনশনে যেতে বাধ্য। আর ইন বিটুইন প্রত্যেকে একটা কস থিটা কম্পোনেন্ট দিয়ে মাল্টিপ্লাই করে জিরো থেকে ম্যাক্সিমাম, নেগেটিভ থেকে ম্যাক্সিমাম আসবে। থিটা যেহেতু জিরো থেকে কি বলবো 180 ডিগ্রি অব্দি ভ্যারি করছে, তাহলে 1 থেকে -1 অব্দি ভ্যারি করবে। -1 হলে কম্প্রেসিভ আর +1 হলে টেনসাইল। ইন বিটুইন ফ্র্যাকশনাল হবে, মাঝপথে একবার জিরোও হবে। তাহলে প্রত্যেকটা ফাইবার যে যার ওরিয়েন্টেশনে আছে তার উপর ডিপেন্ড করে আইদার পজিটিভ অথবা নেগেটিভ পিকে আছে, অথবা ইন বিটুইন কোনো স্ট্রেসে আছে, তাই তো?
ইয়েস স্যার।
প্রত্যেকটা ফাইবারই তো সব অ্যাঙ্গেলের মধ্যে দিয়ে যাবে যেহেতু ওটা ঘুরছে, ফলে প্রত্যেকটা ফাইবারের স্ট্রেসই কিন্তু ওই জিরো থেকে মানে একটা কস ফাংশনে ভ্যারি করবে। একটা পজিটিভ থেকে নেগেটিভ ম্যাক্সিমাম, নেগেটিভ পিকের মধ্যে কন্টিনিউয়াসলি ভ্যারি করবে। সেটাই তো আমরা এই লোডে চাইছি। এই যদি কমপ্লিটলি রিভার্স লোড চাই, সেটাই তো চাইছি লোডিংটা।
স্যার বুঝেছি স্যার।
এই লোডিংটা আমরা এইভাবে এনশিওর করতে পারি রোটেটিং শ্যাফটে। সেই জন্য রোটেটিং শ্যাফট নিয়ে এক্সপেরিমেন্টটা করা হয়। ইজ ইট আন্ডারস্টুড?
ইয়েস স্যার।
Another material property is wear constant. Wear is very difficult because contact mechanics theories are there. So it is difficult to declare or explain the wear property. And wear property depends on so many parameters. It is not a only material dependent parameter. Other environment, etc. are there. But ultimately, a property which is called Archer wear constant Ka, that we can measure, which represents the resistance of material against wear. Wear is a possible failure mechanism in material, and for that wear resistance is to be measured, where we have to measure Archer wear constant Ka. Another important area is thermal fatigue. Due to temperature fluctuation in the member, due to temperature material is extended, or in reduction in temperature material may be contracted. So there are members which are subjected to thermal cycle. Because of this thermal cycle, material also undergoes fatigue phenomena, which is called thermal fatigue. Is it clear?
Yes, sir. স্যার এই আপনি যে আর স্যার আগের স্লাইডটা এক মিনিট একটু বলছেন স্যার। এই যে আর্চার ওয়্যার কনস্ট্যান্ট, এখানে যে ওয়্যারটা, এখানে ওই ওয়্যার অ্যান্ড টিয়ার বলে যে প্রপার্টিটা, মেটেরিয়াল প্রপার্টিটা দেখেছিলাম, ওইটারই মানে ব্যাপার কি স্যার?
হ্যাঁ, এটা রিলেভেন্ট মেটেরিয়াল প্রপার্টি।
ওকে স্যার।
রাবিং অফ দ্য মেটেরিয়ালের জন্য মেটেরিয়াল লস হয় তো সারফেস থেকে, তার ফ্রিকশন নেচারের উপর ডিপেন্ড করে। সেখানে তার স্ট্রেন, ফ্রিকশন, ডিফারেন্ট প্রপার্টিজ আর দেয়ার, যেগুলো কন্ট্যাক্ট মেকানিক্সে পড়ানো হয়। আমি যেহেতু থিওরিটা পড়ানো হয় না তোমাদের, আমি আর ডিটেলে যাচ্ছি না। Another failure mechanism is creep, and this is the creep curve. Look, here you look the experiment. Load is fixed, okay? There is no further load in the member. Initially, the strain is applied to this value. This is the constant strain applied over the, or rather constant load applied over the member, which creates this amount of strain. Now it is stopped. No further increase in the load. What is expectation? that strain also will remain constant. If we plot strain versus time, then we should get a line, horizontal line, isn't?
Yes, sir.
From our previous description of the material property, where we have told that stress is proportional to strain, that means strain is also proportional to stress. If stress remains constant, then strain should remain constant, but which are not real phenomena if the temperature is high. When temperatures are very high, then it is observed that though the load is kept as a fixed value, strain does not remain as fixed. Strain increases with time. This is the time axis. This plot is strain versus time curve. And we can generate this curve for a long time, and this curve will give you strain versus time under constant load at very high temperature, and this curve is known as creep curve. And from the creep curve, the failure mechanism, or rather material response, are very clearly described. That initially, look, the strain increases with falling slope. With falling slope, that means rate of strain is decreasing, initially very high, but gradually decreasing. After reaching a particular point on the time scale, the strain remains proportional to, directly proportional to time. That means strain is constant rate. Constant rate. Rate of strain is constant in this middle zone. And then again, after a certain point, strain starts to increase very rapidly, very high rate. So one point from where strain becomes constant, another point from where strain rate becomes very high. Is it understood or not?
কেন হয় এটা?
এই কেন হয় প্রায় 5-6 রকমের কারণ আছে।
স্ট্রেনটা স্যার মানে আপনি বলছেন সেকেন্ডারি স্টেজে স্ট্রেনটা কনস্ট্যান্ট, তাই তো স্যার? এটা
স্ট্রেন রেটটা কনস্ট্যান্ট।
ও রেট
স্ট্রেন কনস্ট্যান্ট হলে তো হরিজন্টাল হতো।
হ্যাঁ সেটা স্যার, আমি সেইটাই
লাইন বলে স্ট্রেন রেটটা কনস্ট্যান্ট। প্রথমটায় হচ্ছে স্ট্রেন রেট ভেরি হাই থেকে শুরু করে কমতে কমতে আসছে, মাঝেরটায় স্ট্রেন রেটটা কনস্ট্যান্ট, লাস্টেরটায় স্ট্রেন রেট তাড়াতাড়ি ভীষণ বাড়ছে, রেটটাই বাড়ছে, স্লোপটাই ইনক্রিজ করছে। and at certain point it will fail. This is the nature of the creep curve. হ্যাঁ বলো, একটা প্রশ্ন করছিলে কেউ।
স্যার বলছিলাম যে কেন হয়?
হ্যাঁ, এই কেন হয় না, মানে এর মেটালার্জিক্যাল অ্যাসপেক্ট আছে প্রায়। There may be 5 different reasons for which this straining can continue even the stress are constant. Diffusion তার মধ্যে একটা প্রপার্টি, ঠিক আছে? In metallurgical level there will be atomic diffusion. The atomic diffusion with temperature তার নেচারটা চেঞ্জ করে। সেকেন্ডলি হচ্ছে ডিসলোকেশন মুভমেন্ট। যে কোনো মেটেরিয়ালের ভেতরে ডিসলোকেশনস বা ডিফেক্ট থাকে, সেইগুলোর যে মুভমেন্ট হয়, that movement, the nature of this movement can be changed at high temperature. তুমি বলবে কেন এগুলো সব হাই টেম্পারেচারে হয়? If some incidents are related to energy supply level, at high temperature the energy available is very high, no? Hello?
হ্যাঁ স্যার।
So certain phenomena can be initiated at high temperature at the atomic level in the name of diffusion, dislocation movement, and another phenomena are there. Probably what I have studied, that 5 to 6 different phenomena, interatomic phenomena are there, which are initiated at very high temperature, which are not prominent in low temperature, but they are very prominent, dominating at high temperature. And therefore, different effect of this mechanism, of this phenomena, ultimately it was observed that strain increases. Okay. Hello.
Okay, sir.
Yes, sir.
And what we can measure from this curve? Suppose we can measure first the point. The point can be given either in term of strain or in term of time, from where strain rate becomes constant. Up to that time, strain rate is not constant, but the strain rate is gradually reducing. This part is known as primary stage or stage 1. Then a constant strain rate region, either in time scale or in strain scale, we can obtain, which is called secondary stage. And in secondary stage, extra information is there. What is the strain rate? Because that strain rate is the minimum strain rate within the creep curve. Is my statement clear? The strain rate, constant strain rate shown by the secondary stage is the minimum strain rate on this creep curve.
হ্যাঁ স্যার, এমনি ছবিটা দেখলে বোঝা যাচ্ছে যে ওই অ্যাঙ্গেলটা কম আছে অন্যগুলোর
সব
তুলনায়।
থেকে কম, মানে দেখো আপার রিজিয়নে বাড়ছে, লোয়ার রিজিয়নে বাড়ছে।
হ্যাঁ স্যার, ট্যান থিটা অ্যাঙ্গেলটা বেশি আছে ওর ক্ষেত্রে।
ফলে এটাই হচ্ছে মিনিমাম স্ট্রেন রেট। ফলে ইট ইজ অ্যান ইম্পর্টেন্ট ইনফরমেশন, আইদার স্ট্রেন রেট ইন দ্য secondary stage or minimum strain rate, sometime it is called. And another point, we can measure the value of rupture strain from this curve. So these are the properties which can be. Important property is minimum strain rate. Is it clear?
Yes sir, clear.
Yes, sir.
This is the general trend of the creep curve, but creep curve will be different for different stress level. We can do the same experiment at a different stress level. Again, we will get a creep curve for that stress level of the same nature, but not parallel, neither parallel, not superposing over it, a different creep curve. So creep curve varies with stress level, and at the same time, creep curve varies with temperature. Here, temperature plot is given. Look, T2 is greater than T1 and T3 is greater than T2. Higher the temperature, rather, higher the rate of strain. Strain rate becoming higher, either in the secondary stage or in the primary stage or in the third stage. And value of fracture strain or fracture time also is reduced if the temperature is becoming high. Is it understood or not?
Understood sir.
So it is not exhaustive. I have only tried to explain. Bolo Baba.
স্যার বলছি স্যার, ক্রিপটা স্যার মানে হওয়ার জন্য মানে টেম্পারেচার মানে কোন ম্যাটেরিয়ালের উপর কি কোনো ল অনুযায়ী ভ্যারি করে যে এই টেম্পারেচারে ক্রিপ স্টার্ট হবে?
এই লগুলোকে আমরা এক্সপেরিমেন্টাল ডেটা থেকে ফিট করে কিছু কি বলবো কোরিলেটেড কার্ভ তৈরি করার চেষ্টা করি। ঠিক থিওরিটিক্যাল অ্যানালিসিস থেকে কোনো বা থার্মোডাইনামিক্স পয়েন্ট অফ ভিউ থেকে বা এনার্জি ব্যালেন্স থেকে কমই ডেভেলপ হয়েছে, এক্সপেরিমেন্টালি ফিট করেই বার করা হয় লগুলো।
স্যার এই যে আপনার এই গ্রাফটার মধ্যে ওই যে ইএসএস ই ডট এসএস ইকুয়াল টু ই ডট 0 এই যে
ওটাকে বলে স্টেডি স্টেট। আমি যেটাকে মিনিমাম স্ট্রেন রেট বললাম না,
ইয়েস স্যার,
তাকে অনেক সময় স্টেডি স্টেটও বলে।
স্যার এই যে ইকুয়েশনটা, এটা কি মানে যে কোনো ম্যাটেরিয়ালের ক্ষেত্রেই ভ্যালিড হয়?
দেখো, সেই মেটেরিয়ালের জন্য তোমার এনটা আলাদা আলাদা হয়।
স্যার এনটা মানে কি ডিনোট করছে এখানটা? মানে এটা
স্লোপের ভ্যারিয়েশনটাকে ডিনোট করছে। স্লোপ ইজ গভর্নড বাই দ্য এন।
ওকে স্যার। আর স্যার কিউটা এর ক্ষেত্রে কি মানে ওর ইন্টারনাল এনার্জি এরকম
তো থার্মোডাইনামিক এ থেকে না, কিউ বাই আরটি এই টার্মটা তো থার্মোডাইনামিক টার্ম ইকুইলিব্রিয়াম কনস্ট্যান্ট থেকে আসে ওখানে।
ওকে স্যার।
আমরা না এই ক্রিপটার ফ্যাটিকটা মানে এটা আলাদা এরিয়াতে ডিটেলে পড়বে, ফ্যাটিকটা ডিটেলে পড়বো আরো। ক্রিপটা তো আগেতে ছিল, এখন বোধহয় নেই, দেখতে হবে। Creep failure, মানে what I am trying to convey you that creep is a different failure mechanism, and while designing at high temperature we have to consider the failure against creep, and accordingly we have to take decision on the dimension or its. Now manufacturing process and manufacturability. It partly I have discussed in design consideration. Different manufacturing process are there, casting, forming, machining. Different joining process are there, welding, riveting, etc. etc. Powder methods, these are there. देखो, material property which affect the castability. Melting point. Agreed?
Yes, sir.
কাস্টিং যদি ম্যানুফ্যাকচারিং প্রসেস হয় সেখানে কোন মেটেরিয়াল প্রপার্টি গুলো ইম্পর্টেন্ট? মেল্টিং পয়েন্ট, ফ্লুইডিটি,
Yes, sir. It is very important.
because we prefer that there will be very intricate corners, sharp bend, etc. So if fluidity of the molten metal if not sufficient, it may happen that some of the corners may remain void. Their material will not reach because of lower flowability, fluidity. Understood?
Yes sir, understood.
Latent heat of metal, এটার সাথে কি এসে যায়? এনার্জি কনজাম্পশন, তাই তো?
Yes, sir.
মানে তাড়াতাড়ি ঠান্ডা হয়ে গিয়ে সলিডিফাই হবে এরকম, মানে এইটা ডিপেন্ড করে।
লেটেন্ট হিট অফ মেটাল মানে তুমি যদি ওটাকে মেল্ট করে লিকুইড করতে যাও, তাই তো?
ইয়েস স্যার।
মেল্ট করে যদি লিকুইড করতে যাও তাহলে কত হিট দিতে হবে সেই পোর্শনেও লেটেন্ট হিটের একটা গল্প আছে।
হ্যাঁ স্যার।
বলে এনার্জি কনজাম্পশন কতটা হবে, এনার্জি কনজাম্পশনের সাথে ইকোনমি রিলেশন আছে। ইজ ইট ট্রু?
ইয়েস স্যার।
Yes, sir.
থার্মাল কন্ডাক্টিভিটি,
Yes, sir. It is very important.
loss of heat is governed by this, isn't?
ইয়েস স্যার।
Yes, sir.
Coefficient of expansion,
Yes, sir.
এটা বেশি চাই না কম চাই? কোএফিসিয়েন্ট অফ এক্সপানশন,
স্যার কম চাই।
হ্যাঁ, তাহলে কিন্তু রেসিডুয়াল স্ট্রেস ডেভেলপ করবে হাইলি। So you just you look the different property I have given. These are the important material property which are related to casting procedure, and what necessary value or what type of value, either higher or lower, that you will try to explain. From designer point of view, you should know it. This knowledge is required. Is it clear or not?
Yes,
Yes, sir.
So another forming process, rolling, forging, extrusion, drawing. These are the different forming process by which material is shaped. The shape of the material is given. For giving the sheet-like shape of the material, rolling is preferred. For different complicated shape, forging is there. Extrusion is actually pushing the material through certain hole by which it can be shaped. That is called extrusion. And drawing is another mechanism by applying tensile load and extending the material to our required slenderness. That is called drawing procedure. ওয়্যার তৈরি করা হয় ড্র করে, টেনে লম্বা করে দেওয়া হয়। Cold formability, hot formability. Cold formability means when we are forming the material, we are changing the shape of the material. That may be at room temperature, that may be at high temperature. And another, that sheet metal formability, that means when rolling is the process, we are making the material to the shape of a sheet. Look, different material property are listed. I will not repeat. You will go through it and try to understand, and rather you will try to find out why ductility of the material is related to cold formability. Can anybody share?
স্যার কোশ্চেনটা আরেকবার বলুন স্যার।
Why ductility is an important related property of material when cold formability is concerned?
স্যার ডাক্তার যদি না হয় তাহলে স্যার মানে ক্র্যাক করে যাবে জিনিসটা, কারণ আমরা তো এটা কোল্ড কন্ডিশনে করছি।
Because to change the shape, we require huge plastic deformation.
Yes, sir.
That should be allowed by the material. Otherwise, we cannot make the material to our desired shape. So I think you will go through the list of these material property related to different manufacturing process. Similarly, for machining, we have used the word machinability. Machinability means how friendly or how easily it can be machined. And different kind of machining processes are there that you will go through in your manufacturing classes: turning, milling, drilling, shaping or planing. And machinability of the material is quite good when not too high ductility, not high strain hardening, not too abrasive. Material properties that affect machinability দেওয়া আছে, দেখে নেবে। Similarly, for weldability, will you go through this in point of view as a designer? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yes, স্যার।
দেখে পরের দিন যদি কোনোটা কোয়ারি হয় বলবে, আমি তারপর বলবো। আচ্ছা, now we are entering into, আমরা প্রথম কথায় different material property পড়লাম। Now based on different material property we can classify, and also based on application we can classify. আমি এখানে একটা classification দেখিয়েছি, that is not exhaustive. Another kinds of classifications are there. Aerospace material, তাই তো?
Yes, sir.
Materials which are generally or commonly used for different aerospace application. Can anybody tell what will be a common important property for any aerospace material?
Light and tough.
লাইট ওয়েট হতে হবে।
হ্যাঁ, এটা এই মেটেরিয়াল প্রপার্টিটাকে আমরা বলি ওয়েট টু স্ট্রেংথ রেশিও। আন্ডারস্টুড?
ইয়েস স্যার।
যেমন ধরো, তুমি বলবে কেন হঠাৎ আমি এটা তোমাদের পয়েন্টটা অ্যাকসেপ্ট করলাম না? সাপোজ এ মেটেরিয়াল ইজ লাইট, ইজ ইট সাফিসিয়েন্ট টু বি অ্যাকসেপ্টেড অ্যাজ
নো স্যার, স্ট্রেনটাও বেশি হতে হবে।
Tough হতে হবে।
ব্যালান্সড একটা স্ট্রেংথ এবং ওয়েটের ব্যালেন্স চাই। সেই জন্য হোয়াট উই ডু, ওয়েট টু স্ট্রেংথ রেশিও। ওয়েট জানি বা ডেনসিটি জানি, ডেনসিটিকে আমরা যদি স্ট্রেংথ দিয়ে ভাগ করি তাহলে যে রেশিওটা পাবো, দ্যাট রেশিও ডিটারমিনস whether it will be a good material for aerospace application or not. Biomedical application, lot of materials are developed today which have biomedical application. Can anybody tell any such kind of application? Teeth, biomaterial for teeth, isn't?
Yes, sir.
আর্টিফিশিয়াল টিথের যে মেটেরিয়াল, সেটা নিয়েও হিউজ রিসার্চ চলে তার অ্যাপ্লিকেশন জন্য। ইলেকট্রনিক মেটেরিয়াল, ডিফারেন্ট সেমিকন্ডাক্টর লাইক মেটেরিয়াল, এনার্জি টেকনোলজি এন্ড এনভায়রনমেন্টাল, তোমরা হাই এন্ট্রপি মেটেরিয়ালের হয়তো নাম শুনেছো?
না স্যার, আগে মানে শুনি।
আসলে কিছু মেটেরিয়াল তো আমাদের এনার্জি রিলেটেড ডিভাইসের জন্য, ব্যাটারি বা অনেক কিছুর জন্য ব্যবহার হয়, যেখানে কিন্তু মেটেরিয়াল প্রপার্টিটা মেকানিক্যাল প্রপার্টি দিয়ে গভর্নড হয় না, তার এনার্জি রিলেটেড প্রপার্টি দিয়ে গভর্নড হয়। সেটা একটা ক্লাস অফ মেটেরিয়াল আছে। ম্যাগনেটিক মেটেরিয়ালের আবার অন্য ধরনের, তার হিস্টেরেসিস প্রপার্টি বা পারমিবিলিটি, দোজ আর দ্য ইম্পর্টেন্ট প্রপার্টি। সো বেসড অন দ্য মেটেরিয়াল প্রপার্টি, these are classified like this. Another classifications are also possible. Suppose by composition we can, is it visible the right side?
Yes sir.
Look here, engineering material are grossly categorized in metal, ceramic, polymer and composite. Within metal, there are ferrous metal and non-ferrous metal. Why based on ferrous and non-ferrous? Because application-wise, ferrous metals occupies more or less more than 50% of the total material application. Therefore, ferrous metal and non-ferrous metal. In non-ferrous metal, there are other like brass, that may be alloy or that may be pure aluminium, etc. are there. Ceramic is another material, ceramic, polymer and composites. Under each group, again, there are classification or division. Crystalline ceramic may be there, glasses may be there. Within the polymer, it may be thermoplastic or thermosetting or elastomer. And for composite, what is the matrix of that composite? Is it metal? Then metal matrix. Is it ceramic? Then ceramics matrix. And if it is polymer, then polymer matrix. So this classification is based on mainly the composition. Here it is given also. It is given in more detail. Now we are coming into division of metal, ferrous, non-ferrous. And now within ferrous, a class of material is there which is called cast iron. Cast iron. When the percentage of carbon present in the is present with iron, then if the value of carbon present is more than 2.1%, then the material is called cast iron. Because beyond the 2.1% of carbon percentage present in the material, the structural adjustment with the main ferrous, between carbon and ferrous, structural relationship is grossly changed. And when the percentage of carbon remaining below this 2.1%, then this class of metal, iron, is called steel. So whether it is steel, whether it is cast iron, that is determined by the percentage of carbon present inside the iron metal. And again, steel also can be sometimes called low alloy steel, high alloy steel. In case of low alloy steel, the percentage of alloying element, all the alloying element must be below 10%. So when total alloying element present in the steel is below 10%, we generally do not take it as alloy. It is a plain steel. And if it exceeds the value of 10%, then we call it is a kind of alloy steel. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
In case of high alloy, there is a particular grade where chromium percentage is very high, more than 11%. because chromium can fight against environment very strongly. And the steel developed with this higher amount of chromium is resistance against environment, either oxidation or anything that will not happen. And those are used as stainless steel. Another material with high alloy are tool steel. Tool steel means the material by which tool will be formed. Naturally, that should be very hard. Have you understood so far?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So cast iron is given here. Percentage of carbon remains from 2.1 to 4.5%. And silicon normally 1 to 3% by weight. Melting point of the cast iron is low. 300 degrees centigrade lower than the pure iron. Low shrinkage and good fluidity and casting ability. Low shrinkage, good fluidity. Naturally, these two important properties will give cast iron useful member for casting because fluidity is good, shrinkage is low. Do you accept this?
Yes, sir.
তো নিচে দেখো with respect to steel cast iron has general property দেওয়া আছে higher damping এই higher lower এটা কিন্তু হচ্ছে স্টিলের রেসপেক্ট ক্লিয়ার
Yes, sir.
cast iron are classified into by the nature of composition because the carbon present in the cast iron can be integrated with the iron and can form Fe3C or can be present as in the flake, free cast iron as in the form of flake, form of nodule, etc., etc. And depending how these carbon are present within the cast iron material, different types of cast iron are there. Gray cast iron, white cast iron, nodular cast iron, malleable cast iron and compacted graphite. Generally, the cast iron has lower ductility compared to steel. Ductility of steel is higher than the cast iron, but damping capacity of the cast iron is good, more than the cast steel. Gray cast iron contains graphite in the form of flakes and named after its gray fractured surface. In case of gray cast iron, it is in the form of flakes, free carbon. The important material property related to gray cast iron are given. It will help you to select proper material while designing. দেখো তুমি বলবে যে ড্যাম্পিং why damping property are important when materials are used for machine body casing etc. There this damping higher damping capacity will help the material to absorb vibration or impact load upon it. Generally, cast iron, different cast iron are preferred material for making machine bed, etc., casing, etc. নডিউলারের ক্ষেত্রে কার্বনটা কিন্তু এরকম ফ্লেক ফর্মে থাকে না, রাদার নডিউল ফর্মে থাকে, সেই জন্য নাম হচ্ছে নডিউলার আয়রন, নডিউলার কাস্ট আয়রন অ্যাকচুয়ালি. And in case of nodular cast iron, ductility is little bit higher compared to gray cast iron. White cast iron. Here most of the carbon in the form of cement type, that means Fe3C. ম্যালেবল এর ইম্পর্টেন্সই হচ্ছে ডাক্টিলিটি অনেক বেশি, ভেরি ক্লোজ টু স্টিল, and as for malleability you require ductility, because malleability is the property of a material by which it can be formed as a sheet, and for that huge ductility should be there. For malleable cast iron the ductility is very high, and this is compact graphite iron. So up to before steel, I am stopping here. You go through the information given in the slide, and then we will discuss in the next class. Okay?
ওকে স্যার।
তোমরা কি বুঝতে পেরেছো?
হ্যাঁ স্যার।
ইয়েস স্যার।
রেকর্ড করেছো সায়ক?
सर उत्कर्ष रिकॉर्ड करे, उत्कर्ष तूने रिकॉर्ड किया है?
করেছে?
ইয়েস স্যার।
Okay, Utkarsh. Aman?
Yes, sir.
Ahmed,
Yes, sir.
do you have any problem for understanding the subject?
No, sir.
Abdul Rahman? Abdul? Do you have any problem for understanding the subject? You should be free to ask me repeatedly. I have no objection.
না স্যার, কোনো প্রবলেম নেই। আর মেটেরিয়াল প্রপার্টিটা স্যার আমি আগে পড়েছি স্যার।
আচ্ছা আচ্ছা।
মানে আমাদের স্যার, আমি তো ল্যাটারাল এন্ট্রি ছিলাম স্যার, জিলিটের টাইমে আমাদের ওইটা ছিল স্যার, স্ট্রেংথ অফ মেটেরিয়াল ওইটা ছিল স্যার, মেটেরিয়াল প্রপার্টিটা স্যার।
আচ্ছা। অনন্য রক্ষিত?
ইয়েস স্যার।
হ্যাঁ, তুমি কি বুঝেছো?
হ্যাঁ স্যার।
কোনো কোয়ারি বা কোয়েশ্চেন নেই তো?
না স্যার, এখন নেই।
অরণ্য?
ইয়েস স্যার, বুঝেছি স্যার পুরোটাই।
অরিন্দম? অরিন্দম মজুমদার ছবি দেখিয়ে চলে গেছে। অয়ন ঘোষ? আয়ুষ?
ইয়েস স্যার।
কোনো কোয়ারি নেই তো?
নট নাও স্যার।
বরুণ হাসদা?
ইয়েস স্যার।
তোমার কোনো কোয়ারি আছে, বুঝতে পারোনি এমন কিছু আছে?
নো স্যার, নেই।
বিদেশ মন্ডল?
হ্যাঁ স্যার, বোঝা গেছে।
বিশ্বজ্যোতি?
হ্যাঁ স্যার।
দীপজিৎ?
ইয়েস স্যার।
কোনো প্রবলেম?
না স্যার, বুঝেছি।
জগদীশ সাউ?
না স্যার, ঠিক আছে।
জয়দীপ বিশ্বাস?
হ্যাঁ স্যার, অসুবিধা হয়নি কোনো, বুঝতে পেরেছি।
আচ্ছা। শাহজাদা?
না স্যার, তেমন কোনো কোয়ারি নেই এখনো, তো মোটামুটি বোঝা গেছে ভালো।
প্রিয়াংশু মন্ডল?
হ্যাঁ স্যার, বুঝতে পেরেছি।
রাহুল?
ইয়েস স্যার, ক্লিয়ার স্যার।
দীপঙ্কর?
হ্যাঁ, বুঝতে পারছি স্যার।
সায়ক?
হ্যাঁ স্যার, ঠিক আছে।
সায়ক রে?
হ্যাঁ স্যার, ঠিক বুঝতে পেরেছি।
শুভদীপ?
হ্যাঁ স্যার, বুঝতে পেরেছি বেশিরভাগটা।
ওয়াসিম?
হ্যাঁ স্যার, বুঝতে পেরেছি।
সোহেল হোসেন?
স্যার ওই ফ্র্যাকচারটা আপনার স্যার ওটা মানে কেসি ইকুয়াল টু ওয়াই সিগমা রুট পাই সি হবে তো?
হ্যাঁ, ওটা বললাম যে it will be in the numerator, not in denominator. The expression written was wrongly copied.
Okay, sir.
Soumodip,
প্রেজেন্ট স্যার।
do you have any question? কোনো বুঝতে পারোনি এমন কিছু আছে?
স্যার এই মুহূর্তে নেই।
শোভন মাইতি, কোথায় আছো? গাড়ি চালাচ্ছ নাকি?
না স্যার, এই একটু জাস্ট বাইরে বেরিয়েছি বাড়ি থেকে।
কেন?
ওই একজন বন্ধু আসছিল ওকে রিসিভ করতে।
ও, বুঝেছো?
হ্যাঁ স্যার বুঝেছি।
ওকে, তো থ্যাংক ইউ। নেক্সট ক্লাস সোমবার আবার আমি মেটেরিয়াল পাঠিয়ে দেবো, আর এটার যা মেটেরিয়াল বাকি আছে সেটা পড়িয়ে দেবো। ওকে,
ওকে স্যার।
থ্যাংক ইউ স্যার।
থ্যাংক ইউ স্যার।
থ্যাংক ইউ স্যার।
থ্যাংক ইউ স্যার।